Buckle up, folks, because today we are diving into
So
some
what's
claims
next?
coming out of Egypt that are, well, let's just say they're pretty wild.
Yeah, we're talking potentially rewriting history wild.
Exactly. Like, what if everything we thought we know about the Giza pyramids was just the tip of the iceberg?
Tip of the pyramid, you mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
there's this theory, and it's definitely controversial, but it suggests that there's a massive ancient city hidden thousands of feet below the Pyramid of Khafre.
I
Thousands
mean,
of
just
feet.
imagine an entire city buried underground, like a lost civilization just waiting to be rediscovered.
I know,
Researchers
right?
are claiming
And
it.
for all of you listening out there, that's what we're going to dig into today. We'll break down these claims, look at the evidence, and try to understand why some experts are kind of pumping the brakes on the whole thing.
Yeah, because it's not every day someone says, hey, we found a lost city under the pyramids, right?
Yeah.
We got to be thorough here.
Totally. So to kick things off, the source of all this buzz is a new analysis from a team that includes some Italian scholars. They use this tech called high-frequency electromagnetic
Okay.
waves to scan the area.
It's like an X-ray, but for the ground, you know? It lets them peer deep beneath the surface.
Cool. So what exactly are they saying they found down there? Like, give us the rundown.
Okay, so basically they're claiming to have found what they believe are huge wells and massive chambers way down below the Pyramid of Khafre. We're talking thousands of feet underground, like potentially over 4,000 feet.
Wow, that's deeper than the Grand Canyon.
It is. And
Is
they're
it a
not just
joke?
talking about a few little caves here and there. They're suggesting a whole network of structures, a hidden world, if you will.
A hidden
Whoa,
world.
okay, so not just a basement apartment, but a whole underground metropolis. What kind of details do they have? Are they just guessing, or do they have some specifics?
Well, they've got specifics, all right. They're saying they've pinpointed 8 of these well-like structures and 2 ginormous enclosures, all sitting more than 2,000 feet below the pyramid.
Dang, and they're confident about this.
Oh, yeah. They've actually put their confidence level at well above 85%, which, as you can imagine, has raised some eyebrows in the scientific community.
85%. That's pretty bold. So walk me through this high-frequency electromagnetic wave thing. Like, how does it actually work?
So think of it like sonar, but instead of sound waves, they're using electromagnetic waves. These waves travel into the ground, and when they hit something different, like a wall or a chamber, they bounce back.
Oh,
Okay, so it's like they're sending out signals and
okay.
seeing what comes back.
Exactly. And by measuring how long it takes for the signal to return and how strong it is, they can get a sense of what's down there.
That makes sense. So what kind of signals are they getting back? Anything interesting?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. They're seeing these spiral patterns in the data.
Spirals, like a corkscrew.
Yeah, kinda. And they believe these spirals are leading down to those big chambers we were talking about.
Spirals don't
Spirals.
usually form naturally, right? That sounds kind of man-made.
Right. That's why they think these structures might be deliberately designed. To help them analyze all this data, they're using a special algorithm, basically a computer program that can spot patterns and create images from the signals.
So like a high-tech treasure map.
Exactly. And these images are showing the wells with those spiral designs. They've even compared it to the Pozzo di San Patrizio in Italy, which is this famous deep well with a spiral staircase.
Okay, so they're seeing similarities between these underground structures and known man-made structures.
Yeah.
That's pretty compelling. But you
Who
mentioned
made it?
some folks aren't
Man-made?
totally buying it. What are the skeptics saying?
Yeah, not everyone's jumping on the Lost City bandwagon. There are some big names in archaeology and geology who are saying, hold on a sec, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
What are their main concerns?
Well, one of the biggest criticisms comes from Professor Lawrence Conyers. He's a leading expert in ground-penetrating radar, and he's basically saying that while the data is interesting, it's not conclusive proof of a massive city.
Okay, so he's not dismissing the data outright,
Comment your thoughts.
but he's not ready to call it Atlantis either.
Right. And he has some good points. He says that just throwing out an 85% confidence level isn't enough. You need to compare it to other possible explanations for the readings.
Like maybe there are natural formations that could create similar signals.
Exactly. He's saying that without ruling out those other possibilities, it's premature to say for sure that it's a lost city.
That's fair. I mean, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, right?
Exactly. And Professor Conyers also points out that the idea of huge interconnected structures going down thousands of feet doesn't really fit with what we know about the geology of the Giza Plateau.
Huh. So the ground itself might not even be able to support something like that.
That's what he's suggesting. He's not saying it's impossible, but he thinks it's highly unlikely. And he stresses that until we have more concrete evidence, like actual samples or visual confirmation, We should be cautious.
Yeah, I get that. It's like seeing a blurry photo. You can kind of see what it might be, but you can't be totally sure until you get a clearer picture.
Perfect analogy. And then, of course, there's Dr. Zahi Hawass. He's kind of a legend in the world of
So it's a myth
Egyptology,
or
and he's
what?
been pretty vocal about his doubts.
What's his take?
Well, he specifically stated that the type of radar they were using inside the pyramid wasn't scientifically validated. And while these new claims are focused on the area beneath the pyramid, the technology is similar.
So he's questioning the accuracy of the tools themselves.
Yeah, he's basically saying if the tools aren't reliable, then the data they produce might not be reliable either.
Okay, so we've got some serious pushback from some heavy hitters in the field. How are the researchers responding to all this? Are they backing down or are they doubling down?
Oh, they're definitely standing their ground.
Oh.
They're emphasizing that their high-frequency electromagnetic wave technology is cutting edge and allows them to see things that older methods just couldn't.
So they're saying it's like upgrading from an old flip phone to the latest smartphone.
Pretty much. They're arguing that their tech is more sensitive and can detect finer details.
Oh.
Interesting. So it's a battle
It's
of the
very
tech,
interesting.
old school versus new school.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And the researchers are also emphasizing that their data is based on solid measurements and that they use sophisticated algorithms to analyze it.
So they're saying their methods are sound, even if their conclusions are controversial.
Right. They're basically saying trust the process. But yeah, it's definitely creating a fascinating debate in the scientific community.
Absolutely. So let's play devil's advocate here. Let's say for a moment that these researchers are, right? What are the implications? How would this discovery change our understanding of history?
Oh man, if this is true, it would be huge. I mean, they're saying these structures could be
If
around
it's true, it
38,000
would be
years old.
huge.
38,000 years. That's like way before the pyramids.
Way before, like tens of thousands of years before anything we thought we knew about ancient Egypt.
So are they saying there
I
was a
can't
whole
believe
other
it.
civilization there before the Egyptians?
That's exactly what they're suggesting. They're proposing that there was a highly advanced society in that area long before the pharaohs
Oh
came
my
along.
God.
Wow. And what happened to them? Why don't we know about them?
Well, the researchers think they might have been wiped out by some kind of cataclysmic event, like maybe the asteroid impact that happened around 13,500 years ago.
So a lost civilization destroyed by a disaster from space. It's like something out of a movie.
I know, right?
Maybe.
But it gets even crazier because they're trying to connect this lost civilization to the ancient Egyptian texts.
Wait, really? How do they do that?
So they're looking at texts like Chapter 149 of the Book of the Dead and the Royal Canon, and they're suggesting that these texts might not just be myths and legends.
You're saying they could be historical accounts.
That's what they're proposing. They're saying that the gods and demigods mentioned in these texts could actually be representations of the rulers of this lost civilization.
So those stories we've always thought were just stories might actually be memories of a real advanced society.
It's a mind-blowing concept,
I'm
right?
going crazy
But
in
we
this.
have to be careful here because even the researchers admit that their study hasn't been peer-reviewed yet.
Peer review, what does that mean?
It means that other experts in the field haven't had a chance to scrutinize their methods and findings. It's a really important step in the scientific process because it helps ensure that the research is sound.
So it's like a quality control check before they can officially declare they found Atlantis.
Exactly. And the researchers acknowledge that they need to do more scans and get independent verification before they can say for sure what they found.
Okay, so we're still in the early stages of this whole thing. It's a waiting game now.
I think
Yeah,
something
but it's a
is
super
there.
exciting waiting game. I mean, the potential here
What's
is
your thought on
huge.
this?
Absolutely.
Comment it below.
So for everyone listening out there, let's recap what we've learned today. We've got these bold claims about a massive underground complex beneath the Giza pyramids.
Yeah.
Right. And these claims are based on data collected using this advanced high-frequency electromagnetic wave technology.
But we also have some very respected experts who are urging caution. They're saying the data is interesting but not conclusive and that more evidence is needed.
And then there's the whole mind-blowing idea that these structures could be tens of thousands of years old and potentially
Tens of
connected to a
thousands of
lost
years.
civilization mentioned in ancient Egyptian texts.
It's a lot to take in, I know. But for me, the coolest part of this whole thing is that connection between the physical evidence and the ancient myths.
I agree. It's like those myths might actually hold clues to a past that's far older and more complex than we ever imagined.
So here's a final thought for all of you listening. What if these claims do turn out to be true? How would that change our understanding of history? Would it rewrite the whole timeline of human civilization? And what other secrets might be hidden out there just waiting to be discovered?
It really makes you wonder what else is out there, right?
It sure does. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, folks.
Until next time.
Keep those minds curious.
And those imaginations open.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks.